Domestic politics aside, this has also become an international showdown. Right now, about 14 Islamic nations have given out statements against India and have demanded a clarification, even summoned our envoy in some of these countries. Which are these Islamic countries? Very interesting. Let's take a look here. We have the world map to help you understand how literally the majority of the Muslim world has come together. Now, this is Turkey, Bahrain, Iran, as you can see, Jordan, Libya is now one of the most recent ones that has issued a statement. Kuwait, Afghanistan, which is being led by Taliban, is lecturing India today on religious rights. Pakistan, our neighboring nation, known for its persecution and execution and conversions on a regular basis, lecturing India on religious rights. Oman, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, even Maldives, which is a big international tourist destination, and Indonesia. So these are about 14 nations, as you can see, that have given out strong statements. And India has also responded equally, telling them about how all the derogatory remarks that were made, there has been action taken. And we will ensure that, because India always respects all religions, that this will not be allowed to pass easily. Let's get an update now from my colleague Ashutosh Mishra, tracking all the latest on that. Ashutosh, the government took a decision because there was so much international pressure that was building and there was a lot at stake. But it's very interesting about the countries that are reacting, because most of them, as we just showed to our viewers, are known for their own human rights violations.
There could be internal issues of those countries regards to the human rights violation. But remember, India has very strong ties with the Gulf nation, be it the economic trade or the bilateral relationship. And several diplomats, those who have served in Gulf and Middle East, believes that earlier, pre-2014, the relationship with Gulf was seen how the relationship in Pakistan. But after 2014, after Prime Minister Modi's leadership, the India has strengthened, strong relations with with these countries. So clearly, when there are certain statements or anything that happens which can, anger these countries, that India really cannot afford to, and particularly when something comes like, making statements as provocative as what recently been several BJP leaders have been done, particularly against Prophet Paigambar. These statements were bound to happen. And remember, this is not only about how these nations are responding. Of course, they are accused of violating human rights, but remember, more than it is also about the interest of more than 10 million Indians who are working in the Gulf nation. In fact, today I've been speaking to several people. There is a growing concern and, apprehensions that since this all happened, there is a strong retaliation and response from these countries. What will be the repercussion on the Indian migrants, those who are working with the Gulf country, and hence almost everyone condemning the statement, but often they're praying for the peace and harmony that should prevail all the side, be it India or the Gulf country. Remember, the statement that was made by the OIC in Pakistan, India strongly rejected and condemned that. But when it comes to the Gulf nation, it is a strong relationship that cannot be compromised, particularly when these statements are being. And that's
so exactly national interest there, specifically with regard to the fossil fuel import of energy sources, all of that being considered here, and there is a political standing. Ashutosh, thank you very much for the latest on that. Now, remember, it's important to understand that why has India also ensured to, with responding to the statements coming in from these countries, has had a mature and a diplomatic stand. Now, there is a significance of India and West Asia relations. Most of these nations, as I just told you about, are located in that area. On top is world's third largest Muslim population comes from India. So it is the numbers also, and largely how is it seen across the world. For example, 30% of UAE's population consists of Indians who are working there, who've been living there for a while now, which means all of this is also interconnected. Let's now come to the business aspect of it specifically. India's business with the Gulf nation amounted to $87 billion in 2020-2021, which is about the year prior. This is the Gulf Cooperative Council, the GCC, which has different nations, including Kuwait and Qatar, and therefore the business dealings have been done of $87 billion. Which means there is a certain strategy. So what is the strategy that has come here? The strategy is, remember, that at this point, India's energy imports, the top source comes in from this region, specifically from the UAE, Kuwait area, and this West Asia region, as top imports for energy are important for India. The strategic importance is also with Prime Minister Narendra Modi being frequently visiting some of these nations. There is a diplomatic friendship and connections that have been made. UAE, which was one of the recent countries to give out a statement and has been a friend of India, was one of the first countries, very interesting here, to support India when Article 370 was abrogated from Jammu and Kashmir. UAE had given a statement in support. So there is, of course, a lot at stake, whether it's political standing, diplomatic relations, business dealings, all of that has been taken into connotation here.